Taxware. And guess what? She's back. Catherine.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And we are recording this presentation because we are going to add it to the Latino Tax Pro website. Catherine has a great article on the same topic, the top 5 ways to keep yourself essential to today's consumer. So that's a great detailed article. We're going to add this recording to that article. You could always go back and reference it at any time. And now, if you have any questions during the next 45 minutes, hour or so, or 30 minutes, depending how long you take, Catherine, we can answer them. Of course, we can answer them. And we actually have a few people on the actual webinar. So 6 attendees. We have Selmira, Claudia, Danielle, James, Renee, and Scott. Thank you for joining us as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Perfect. So with that said, Catherine, yeah, take it away. I'm excited to learn.
Awesome. So I am sharing my screen right now. So you should see the title page, and we are moving right along. So my name, like he said, my name is Catherine Dalton. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing here at Taxware Systems. And if you haven't heard of us, we are software developers that have brought quality software with personalized customer service for over 40 years. And so although I'm personally not fluent in Spanish, many of my team are here, so we can answer your questions in both English and Spanish. And I know that that is a great thing for many of the members of Latino Tax Pro. So we're just thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled to share my thoughts and experiences. I've shared my information here personally, and I'll share a little bit more at the end as to how I can help you. So nobody needs to be telling you this, right? We are in some seriously challenging times. Rearranging schedules, different places of work, changing the way we interact with our family and our friends, and most especially our clients in these last few months. And so my statement to you is, even through all of this, it's very important for the success of your business to retain and improve your relevancy in this highly competitive market. So the immediate crisis aside, a recurring problem for tax professionals is the increasing choice by consumers to use do-it-yourself software products to prepare their taxes. Tax professionals offer significant value and benefits. I don't need to tell you that. I bet you know that right away. But if your clients don't see the value in those benefits, they will likely go elsewhere, including online services. So before entering the world of the tax professional, I did actually recently earn my CTEC and became a CRTP. I did spend 25 years as the director of marketing for an independent insurance agency. And during that time, they grew to be one of the largest here in the Inland Empire portion here of Southern California. Insurance agents and tax professionals actually have a lot in common. Many of you probably know. Many businesses that are tax professionals actually merge both of those services and provide those benefits to their clients year round. So it's actually been really cool to transition and see those similarities and those commonalities. But as one thing that they do have in common in both industries is that they're threatened by online companies that have appealing mascots, catchy jingles, and they use all of those and actually really large marketing budgets to entice your customers into thinking that they can acquire their insurance or complete their tax return on their own without your competent and experienced advice that the licensed professional provides. So in my opinion, this is the real concern that tax professionals need to address to keep their services in demand by today's consumer.
Yeah,
So,
also, Catherine, I was going to say, a similarity I've kind of noticed is with insurance and taxes, sometimes the customer is looking for the cheapest price.
Yeah.
Right. Like the ones that are looking for refunds. There's two different types of tax clients. They're like the business owners, the ones that owe. Those guys are like, oh no, I wanna it done right. I'm gonna go to you. But there's another group that says, taxes are a commodity, or that's the way they feel. And so it doesn't matter who I go to. I just want the cheapest and the cheapest price with the biggest refund. But though in that segment, looks like with insurance. Did you encounter that with insurance before, Catherine? Like people just want the cheapest all the time?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that if you go to any tax professional, the tax laws are the same, right? And any insurance company, if you seek out a quote from Mercury from for example, that's just one that's the one that I use. If you go to 3 different insurance agents, technically they should all provide you the same exact quote. You know, they don't have, there's not a difference between what technically the laws are, what they can provide, you know, what have you. So that's actually the same. But for, you know, for some reason, they still feel like they need to shop it to death. So anyways, yeah, I agree. And I think that's a concern. And so then they, you know, and I think doing your research is a good thing, but in general, you know, those shoppers, they really should be getting the same information from wherever they go, particularly as it pertains to the, you know, the tax law, right?
Yeah, yeah, indeed. And those that are here with us listening, now we have 11 attendees. That's awesome on the Zoom. I want to ask you a question. Do you guys, as tax professionals, do you ever get clients who are shopping around? Do you ever get clients who are looking for discounts? I would love to hear your feedback. So as Catherine keeps presenting, please type it into the Q&A or the chat so we can make this interactive.
That's wonderful. Thanks. I appreciate that. So as I mentioned, as a licensed insurance agent, I have witnessed over that time, you know, a lot of customers turning to DIY internet insurance quotes and policy purchases. And so I was really interested to see that actually in this industry as well. And I believe that is the main thing that is impacting, you know, the insurance agents. Their decrease in their market share every year was affecting, you know, the independent insurance agent and how they were going to be able to move forward and grow their business, right? So insurance agents, they have a name for it. It's called the Geico effect, right? Yeah, have you heard of that?
No, I read it in your article, so I was curious to find out more.
Very good. So I believe and I feel that tax professionals also experience the same thing, and I'm not the only one who's called it this, but you know, they call it the TurboTax effect. So you've got that really big, loud voice out there that is telling them, you know, that they can do it themselves. So that, you know, that's how it happens. You get advertising in all mediums, telling them to just click a few buttons, share their personal information in cyberspace, and prepare and submit their return with, you know, and they say that they're going to be professionally done and accurate just by, you know, interfacing there with the computer. And as more and more people believe that, fewer and fewer clients will be seeking professional tax services. And the data shows it. This information is from the IRS. It's nothing hidden. You've got the 2018 and the 2019 filing season. So that's 17 and 18 tax years. And even, you know, in last season, when more people should have likely been coming to the tax professional to help them get through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, you know, 4.2% actually, you know, went to DIY software. And so, I mean, that's a concern. Even this year, actually, this is the 2020 filing season. This information just came out May 15th. And it should be a concern for everyone in this industry that the tax professionals were down 18.8%. Self-prepared is up 2.2%. Now I get it. We had an extension in, right? We had a extension in the tax year, July 15th. People are going to kind of spread those out a little bit more. They always do this report in May. Typically the season would have been over a month. But I think that's still, it's going to balance out a little bit, but I think it's still should be a concern for everyone in the industry.
Yeah, no, those numbers are amazing. So I know a lot of people have said, you know, I'm down. What do I do? They're you know, they're very worried, but it's the whole industry, it appears. So.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And so I really hope that, you know, that they don't see a huge, you know, decrease by the time July 15th hits, but I do believe that the trend is continuing to go even further and further in the DIY software's favor. And I think that we as tax professionals need to be able to combat that. And I think we can. And that's what that's why I mentioned here, you should not be as worried about working remotely, but rather keeping yourself relevant. Our task as tax professionals is to help our clients understand our value and appreciate the services that we provide. So I wonder, have you ever thought of it? Who is your biggest competitor? It's not the guy down the street. I promise you that.
Everyone thinks that, right? I feel
Yeah,
like
right.
people are like, oh, the guy down the street is offering cheaper discounts,
Yeah, well,
or bigger refunds,
right.
guaranteed refunds, but not necessarily.
Mhm.
Oh, so someone put in the chat, it's me. I'm the biggest competitor.
Well, that's great. But for many tax pros, your biggest competitor is the software company that you have been paying your annual license fees to. Every year, their do-it-yourself programs begin to take center stage on their development as the focus of their development. And as they do that, they serve to cut you right out of the picture. There are actually very few tax software developers in the marketplace, and even fewer that have been developing for 40 years like Taxware systems. But every DIY software comes from one of them. So take a look at these software programs and their parent companies. Now, many of you probably already know it. Some of them are pretty obvious, but it's pretty amazing that a lot of the market share of the DIY software comes from these companies that provide you your tax software as well. And I'm gonna guess you pretty much finance that.
Yeah. So this is amazing. So then Intuit owns TurboTax, but it also sells Pro Series to tax professionals. And then TaxSlayer has a DIY. I think it's just tax. I seen those commercials like
Mm-hmm.
I think they're big on NASCAR, right? And like I think they have like a
Mm-hmm.
TaxSlayer Pro,
Yeah,
TaxSlayer
yeah.
Pro, or TaxSlayer Bowl. I think like a college football
Mm-hmm.
championship, and then Tax Act. The one I didn't know about 1040.com from Drake, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And you Intuit acquired Credit Karma, so yeah, so that's interesting. So that's a good point. So if you're paying like for Pro Series, are you indirectly paying for those commercials, TurboTax?
I
Maybe, right?
mean, I think it's highly likely, to be honest. I think it's highly likely. And I did want to point out the one thing that is different in insurance versus tax industry is that those commercials, like for I'm familiar with like with Mercury and Safeco and even Progressive. So they have a lot of commercials and things like that to share their company. And they take that information to take those leads that come and they push those back to the independent agent so that they can benefit off of the service and the sales on those policies. And they're loyal to their independent agents. I can't speak for direct writers. I've got to think it's got to be the same, because I don't think that a direct writer insurance agent would, that's like a Farmers or a State Farm. I don't think they would allow for that, for them to just undercut them like that. But
Yeah.
they're loyal to their agents and generate leads for their agent success. And I'm sad to say I don't see that happening in the tax industry.
Yeah, that's so interesting. But maybe just awareness, people didn't know about it. So.
Yeah, it could be. I'd like to think so, or they're complacent. They don't really care. But I personally think that it's an important point to note.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll likely never be able to compete with their marketing budgets. We know that. You'll likely never have the technology and tools that these companies have at their disposal. But don't despair. Like this crisis has proven, you are essential. And so what can you do to make sure that your clients know that you're essential? That's the question, and that's the answers that I have for you today. So the following top 5 ways are just the beginning, but they are a great place to start. I call them the essential E's. First one here, show your expertise. Now more than ever, sharing your expertise with others is both vital and actually relatively simple. And you wanted some interaction. I'm really curious, and maybe you could tell me if they respond, but how many of them already write and share on a company blog? So maybe if you can post in chat or on the Facebook information, how many of you already write and share on your company blog?
Yeah, or even so to do that, do you need a website? Do you need
You
your own
would for a
website?
website, yeah. You
And the
would.
reason I make that comment is some tax pros need help building their own websites and all that, but um, definitely we all have that knowledge, so why not blog about your knowledge?
Right, exactly. Well, that's another step. Maybe I should have put it first, but that's going to be coming up, and we're going to talk about in times past. You used to have a professional press release. You would probably have to hire a professional writer at a great expense to kind of get your message out there. You would put it out typically just directly to the news mediums and hope that they picked it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, nowadays, you have a lot more options. You are able to publish your own articles and opinions, either in short articles, whether you email them just directly to your clients or you post them on a blog on your website, like we mentioned, or if you can share them on LinkedIn and Facebook. And one of the cool things about that is it becomes a lot of people can see it, and you don't necessarily have to have paid to put it out there. So this type of content helps people know and get to know you first and get to know the value of your knowledge and your experience. So as you write these articles, I recommend that you send them in a customer newsletter that can be emailed. So I am kind of curious too. We talked about blogs, but how many of you already send newsletters to your clients? If you'll share that with us too. And I'm curious how many times per year. So maybe you say yes, twice a year, yes, once a year. I'd love to hear that feedback, because as you send these emails, a lot of people will tell you, okay, you can send out a newsletter, an email, it's free, kind of, but as you do that, we all know that our email inboxes are very inundated with emails every day. And so I think that that's still a good choice, but I firmly believe that you should print and mail them at least twice per year, 3 to 4 times if possible. But if you can print and mail them to your clients and maybe even leads, that is one way to really get your message out and make sure that they hear. Did you get any response, Tony?
Yeah, he's saying once a month here.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Once a week, but email. And then comment, oh, good idea on the mailing. And I was just gonna mention that too, is so by printing and mailing, so some people would say, oh, wow, you could just email, that's more expensive, but it creates a different experience, right, Catherine? So what have you seen when with the mailing newsletter, you get something in the mail, as long as if it's ads, like you throw it away, right? Sales and ads, no. But if it's actual like an article or like a newsletter, I guess it looks like it would have a high open rate, right, and engagement rate.
I believe so. Like, I think that particularly if they already do business with you, if they heard about you, or they've already done business with you. I mean, I'm opening it up, and then if you do it to leads and things like that, just having it, I think that there's a higher possibility, especially if it's local, that they're gonna open it up and learn a little bit more about you. So yeah, and you could even do that with just mailing the newsletters, but other ways to mail. I think that it's not dead. People would have told you that mailing is dead, direct mail is dead, you shouldn't use it. I'm here to say it's not. I feel like that you need to have your hand in a couple of different mediums to be able to make sure that you're reaching your client the way that they are willing to be reached, right?
Yeah, and not to keep interrupting you, but
hey, it's okay.
I firmly believe that as the world is going more digital and virtual and, emails and etc., that mailing, direct mail, as long as it's done informational, is huge. And when it's safe to do so, like that face-to-face in-person contact, or that phone call, or that stuff, because what I've noticed, these corporations, including like the technology companies, they're automating. Oh yeah, we could scale faster if we could do this automation. It was like, yeah, but the experience is not the same. You don't want to talk to a robot, you want to talk to a human. But anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's absolutely true, and you're right on the same page as I am. Show you empathize, and we talked about a little bit about this yesterday, but to me that's the next step. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Now I think I should have put who that's a quote from. I didn't give credit to there, but it's an adage that all of us know. And I think that reaching out to our clients at important times, whether it's a crisis or whether it's a birthday, is really important, because your clients want to know that you're invested in their well-being, right? And so, like he mentioned, there are technologies that can help you do this on a larger scale. One example that we're integrated with Textalent, and our WinTax 1040 software seamlessly integrates, and it helps make that communication and that appointment setting easy and efficient. But big caveat, I think that the ability, although I believe the ability to text, and it can be a genuine communication, you just have to make sure that you do it with care and sincerity. Don't overdo it. Make sure that your message is personalized, and you're being authentic. Don't let the technology take over your personal voice, just like Tony said.
Yeah.
Because if your clients think that a service provider is preparing all of your content and communication, I mean, then your efforts can have the opposite effect. And so my advice is to never completely detach from the communication from your business that your brand is putting out. And so I think that you need to show that you empathize. There's a way to do it on a larger scale, but never detach. Make sure that it stays authentic and sincere. Number 3, be evident. So I say be where they are. Better yet, be where they're looking. And so I highly recommend, getting out and being seen in the local community. So if you think that your customers come primarily from the neighborhood that surrounds you, then it is really important to get out and be seen. So there's we know the networking events, local chamber meetings, different local events that help you can gain, they can play a key role in gaining trust, generating awareness of you and your business, as well as referrals of your services. Now, oh yeah?
I was gonna ask, that the Chamber of Commerce and the groups are those? I'm always trying to find new groups to join, but like down south where you're at in Upland area, what kind of groups are business groups? Would it just be Chamber of Commerce, or is there other groups that exist, for example?
There's quite a few, and we live in an area where there's quite a few cities around us. So being involved in multiple city chambers of commerce, different ones provide different benefits. We happen to have one close by that has lots of events, lots of networking opportunities, and is a really fun chamber to be a part of.
Nice.
There's also networking events. So you could, I'm sure that there's numerous ones around, people wherever they're at. And if they're not, you can start one,
Oh yeah, start one up. Cool.
Yeah, so, and like Tony mentioned, website. I am a firm believer that it is super important to be found on local search on the internet. Today's consumer, they like to do a little research about you before they want to do business with you, right? Have you seen that? I mean, I know I've personally been on the phone at the same time as I'm, reading their information on their website, so that I can actually know a little bit more about who I'm talking to and who I want to do business with. And so sometimes that you feel like that can be cost prohibitive. I know at my insurance agency, quite a few years back, it was multiple thousands of dollars to get our first website put together. Yeah. And those prices have come down considerably. Like GetNetSet, I know that that's a great company that provides them for accounting and tax professionals. Vista Printing even has some resources for some really simple yet professional looking websites. And so it's not impossible. And I encourage you to look to that, because you just need to show up, locally. Google does those searches and they pull up what's local. And so, I think it's important to be out there and be seen.
Nice.
And then yeah, you agree, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
So, and the other place is social media. Engaging on Facebook and other social media platforms that your customer can be, might be involved in, whether it's your, current customers or potential customers. So that brings back a vivid memory. I remember almost being sick to my stomach the day, it was 2009, 2010, one of those two, that I set up the insurance agency's Facebook page. I was like super nervous because you were putting yourself out into this public forum that you had never been in before. And so it was, you kind of are nervous about what's going to come at you, what you're going to have to respond to. And honestly, it's been the most positive thing ever since then. Not just because the company has a great reputation, but because, you can respond. And as you respond to negative, both negative and positive, and you do it in a very positive way, your credibility and people's desire to know that you are a real person behind the Facebook, page is real, and it actually helps your credibility and helps your perception and the trust that they have in you. So again, I say be authentic and communicate in a real positive way.
Yeah.
So number 4, exceed expectations. I probably should have given this 2 E's here, but exceed expectations is the 4th way. And I just encourage people to go the extra mile, give the extra effort to exceed your clients' expectations. So you mentioned some personal touches before, right? And so there's nothing more noticeable than to add a personal touch to any interaction with your clients. So for example, you may want to make it part of your business process to always send a follow-up thank you note after the season. Ideally, like right after, very soon after you have, finished sending off the return. But, even if it's just at the end of the season, these and other personalized communications they go a long way into strengthening your relationships, and they improve client retention, which is a very key thing in keeping your business strong. And as well as they'll increase referrals. You can ask for referrals, but it actually just that warm fuzzy feeling, that personal touch makes people just want to refer back to you.
Yeah, I mean, we always say this. People always say this. Oh, your customers are your biggest like marketing advocates, ambassadors. But you have to like really embrace it. And the way we learned at Latino Tax Pro, the embrace it is just be helpful. Just be helpful. Help people. They always have questions about anything, and just be there, because whether that turns into a sale right away or not in the future, you might get them as a customer. Sometimes you may just help and then, okay, bye, thanks. And you're like, oh man, why did I waste an hour helping that person? They're not even a customer. But that perspective and that attitude actually ends up making up for itself, because then you either get that customer later or you don't, but now you're a helpful person, so you get other customers. So
that's excellent. It's true. It's true. You get back what you put out, and whether it's immediate or in the future, that's awesome. I totally agree with that attitude, and I see that attitude in you, Tony. So I'm grateful that you share it that way. Thank you.
Cool.
And speaking of those referrals, that's where, have you ever considered, having a referral thank you program? Now, we understand, like, you think, oh, that's pie in the sky in the heat of the season, right? And it's difficult, but there are ways that and we're going to talk about those too, that you can to make those happen even when things are really under a lot of pressure during the heat of the season. So these referral thank you programs, they can be really fun. They can, you can choose to reward the client directly, or maybe you have to deal with some local laws, but you can determine maybe even a specific charity on their behalf. So they even let them choose a charity, you choose a charity, but say, hey, thank you for a referral because of this. This amount of money or this contribution is going towards, this charity, particularly if it's a local one. It's always nice, but people appreciate both receiving, a gift for their efforts, but also, knowing that you are doing something gracious, in their name. So I think those referral thank you programs are really key to improving, increasing your business through referrals, which are the best way to. It's much easier to take care of and help a referral than it is to try and go out and reach out and get newer clients. So last here on this exceed expectations, I know there's I mentioned here to focus on the small details. So like an in-office visit, for example. Yes, I believe that they're going to be happening again in the near future. I'm very hopeful for that. But you might do some simple things like provide water or snacks for your clients as they're sitting there waiting to, help them feel instantly comfortable. That really goes a long way in their feeling and being in your office, or their feeling and working with you. And I just think that those are two things that can happen really easily and graciously in your office, even during the heat of the season. Also, don't forget the ever popular birthday card or personalized notes. I believe that these efforts are worth their weight in gold to help you with your current clients, and also to secure referral business each year.
Yeah, something we do at our own Lopez Tax office here in Monterey County, California. When somebody comes, let's say it's March and I'm doing somebody's taxes, they sit in front of me. One of the first interview questions that we do is we find out if this time, say it's Tuesday, 3 p.m., we'll say, hey, Mrs. Jones, is this a good time for me to see you next year?
Oh.
Is Tuesday 3 p.m. and then March 2021st. Good.
Mhm.
Well, do you like Tuesdays? Yeah, I like it. Okay, let's make your appointment right now.
Very
So right
smart.
away they're like, oh, I expect to see you again next year. Yeah, of course,
Oh.
I'll be here next year, because that's one of the biggest concerns of clients is,
Yeah.
will I get the same person every year? Are you gonna be here? I'm gonna give you all my financial information. And so number one, it sets the expectation, and number two, what we do with these client appointments. So that's March. So later in the year, right after Christmas, right before the next tax season, we'll mail out appointment letters. So we do a mass mailing of these appointment letters. So Mrs. Jones around January will get a letter. It'll say, "Hey, Mrs. Jones, this is Tony. Just a friendly reminder, March 21st, 2021 at 2:30 p.m. I'll see you soon." And
Very smart.
it's you're being informative, you're helping out, and it's also like a marketing piece if you think about it, because you're just trying to help them come in. So it's cool, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Tony. That's an excellent idea, especially, in the tax industry where these things are annual, right? So that's awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing. That's a great bonus, for anybody listening to this webinar here. So, fifth and final for today is hire an expert. Now, don't let that intimidate you, because running a business, we all know, is time consuming. And no one knows this better than the independent insurance agent during the heat of tax season. I hear it from everybody. They're just working super long hours, fast, trying to see everybody, get everything done. But you don't have to hire a big budget marketing firm for your local tax practice. That's not what I'm talking about. And the expert may not be a true expert, marketer, just graduated from college in that field necessarily. But there are some very reasonable and affordable ways that you can help your business by using somebody that's focused on marketing all year round. I'll tell you a little secret. So 26 years ago, I've said it over and over again. I'm a licensed insurance agent, and I was I had my license. I had a knack for marketing that I didn't actually really know that I had. But at that time, it was pretty basic, right? Advertising was mainly through a big yellow page telephone directory or some sort of newspaper ad. There wasn't a whole lot of options there. There wasn't a whole lot that needed to be handled. But I was expecting my first child, and the agency owner, kind of saw the wisdom in having me work remotely. It was called telecommuting back then. Now it's working remotely. So for most of these 26 years, I have telecommuted, from the very beginning. And so he knew that I only wanted to work on a very part-time basis. It was my personal choice. I was just going to stay home or dabble in a little something on the side, this little part-time gig like I mentioned here. And so it was actually a real blessing for me and for the agency, and it worked out. And I stayed with them doing those services, for the next 26 years. Not, sometimes a little bit of hours each week, and sometimes quite a bit. So it worked out for both of us. And so you may already know somebody that has a knack for social media or good communication skills, and they really want to learn more about the income tax. They don't have to master how to do tax returns and things like that, but they do need to know more about the industry and how they can help improve your business. So they might be interested in this part-time gig. So don't ever discount that, somebody you might know already might be willing to kind of manage this for you. And, if not that, you can advertise for help or look for a small marketing firm that could help guide you with the personalized service that you need. And most of those are at a real reasonable cost.
Yeah, no, it's what a lot of it is just being out there, like you mentioned, going to events. Like you guys go to Latino Tax Fest, we've seen each other at other events together at the IRS tax forums, and you mentioned Chamber of Commerce. But what I've learned, if you're just up in the mix, number one, number two, if you're just friendly and if you're just nice, you meet people, you start meeting people, you hang out, and then and then eventually you meet, like in this in this case right here, you're talking about finding somebody for marketing. You may just
Mhm.
find somebody who's like, oh, look what I do. It's like, oh, cool. And they're like, oh yeah, and I'm looking for a job. Oh, you are? Cool, you know. So that's kind of been
Yeah,
my experience, just kind of being in the mix, being nice to people, and things kind of fall into place somehow. Yeah.
it's true. It's true. A little bit of karma on all of that. I mean, that makes sense. And it's just really not so much that they're going to show up at your business all the time, but you need to have somebody that's thinking about marketing because you're busy running your business, probably doing, returns for your clients. So you just need somebody that has the marketing on their mind so that they can help push you forward to the next level and make sure that you're being seen, and getting your communications out and personalized and what have you. So just having somebody to manage that for you is great. So in closing, I just say that it's not only in times of crisis, but every day it is those who step up and be super friendly, like Tony has said, that stand out. And so experienced tax preparers like you are essential. And so I just have a passion about this topic, and I want people to just, take strength in the things that they provide, the services they provide, the benefits they provide, so that they will improve and increase their business, even when they're seeing a lot of competition out there. So my presentation is done here today, but I just wanted to thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And it is, I hope that there was something that you took away today, either from Tony's comments or from mine, that you want to implement into your business to help it improve and help it increase. I work full time here at TaxSource Systems, but my email's up there, my phone number's up there. If you have, just want to jot me some sort of note or some sort of, thought about what you learned today or what you're going to do, or a quick question, I will reply and respond as soon as I possibly can. Now, I don't speak Spanish, but if you prefer to send it in Spanish, I have a team here that will help me translate, and we'll send a reply back. But we at TaxSource Systems support tax professionals, and we know that they provide value to our communities, and we choose to be loyal. And so I just encourage you to think through that. If you're using a do-it-yourself program, either for yourself or paying those license fees to them, to really think about who you're sending that money to, whether it's that they're really truly your competitors. So I'm really thankful, Tony and Latino Tax Pro, to allow me to share my message today. And I just thank you, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah, we actually have some comments and some questions, so
Oh,
let's get through them
great.
if you have some time.
I
Uh,
do.
Somebody said, I do post on SM. I wonder what that is.
Social media,
Oh,
probably.
social media. Yeah. On social media, and this is Victoria Aguilar is making this comment. Hi, Victoria. From Facebook. She's saying, I do post on social media, but haven't sent out blog emails or mails. Good ideas. And so,
Great.
yeah, definitely is a good idea. That's how we got started, and we continue to do that. Now it's just newsletters. When we first started off about 10 years ago, nobody really knew Latino Tax Pro, what we did. So we just started sending news and information, news, and we started getting following, and then we would we would go to shows, and then, but little by little, people appreciate the information that you send out.
They do. And especially if it shows how much you care, and it shows your expertise. So yeah, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that people are doing that.
Yeah. And then another commenter, Julio Najera, asking, are there any meetups in Kern County? We can start a meet and greet locally. Ooh, so it looks like people are trying to mix up now.
Yeah, I love Kern County. I love Lake Isabella. I love the whitewater rafting there. So you're lucky to live in a beautiful place right there. Yeah, I think that you kind of look to your chamber. I would probably do an internet search on Kern County networking and business networks, and see. Now, your customer may not be business to business, but being involved in some of those that are business to business help you generate referrals by referring each other's business. And you also talk about how you can build your business. So there's a lot of value in those networking groups that you can find in your local area.
Yeah, definitely. And that brings up question. Does Taxware have any meetups across the state or any events or anything you kind of bring tax pros together?
You know, we are really, we have been attending the IRS tax forums, you know, since they began. And Latino tax, I think, since, I don't know if it was since that they began, but as our own personal ones, you know, we're delving into that a little bit more. We have a seminar annually every year that many of our clients come to, and we love, you know, seeing them face to face. It's usually at the end of the year, beginning of the next, depending on how things work out. And so we definitely have those, but as far as, you know, those other traditional meet and greets, we do not right now, but we are looking to incorporate those in the future.
Oh, got it. Oh, here's a comment. Is your Taxware seminar, is it only for your customers or is it open to the public?
Typically at December and or January. I mean, it would be open to the public, but for most people, they're, you know, all focused on getting ready for the new season. So it is going over the new program, you know, going over those things that people can get ready to buckle down and start doing returns as the new year hits. So I would say it's pretty much geared towards our current clients.
Oh, cool, for sure. And then somebody made a comment, Julio made a comment. If you need a website, try Wix. I redid my own website. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, if you've got a little bit of technology, and you know, you're not scared, Wix is great. Yeah, I've built a couple of websites on there as well. So yeah, that's a great option.
Nice. And a couple of last comments here. From, where's it at? That I saw it here. Oh, here we go. Jeff mentioned yes, I offer review discounts. I'm my biggest competitor. That's the one that said, and then he said, I think we should all come together as tax professionals and standardize our prices by region. It will be fair, a fair way to have the client choose per tax pro, not by the cheapest. Is that against the law to do that?
I don't know.
But anyways, that's interesting.
Interesting idea.
People don't jump around. Somebody said, do it yourself can't do that. Oh, I think they were talking about your previous slide about do it yourself software can't not create. You can't really create relationships and do it yourself.
No,
right?
No. But that's the thing. I mean, we have to, as tax professionals, have to be better at creating those relationships and keeping those relationships strong through these 5 essential, you know, topics, or else they are going to go to DIY software because it's cheaper and they, you know, they think they know how to do it.
Yeah, and a comment here from Maria Rodriguez on Facebook saying, I like Taxware. Ooh,
oh, thank you. Thank you, Mario. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, and then final question here on the Zoom from Enrique Medina saying, there is a current bill in Sacramento requiring tax professionals to first tell our clients of the free federal and state options. And I believe that bill,
AB 1140.
Yeah, it's going to also require them to tell our pricing. How will this affect our business? So it seems like it will affect our business if we need to give people pricing, you know, but at the moment, the assembly member, Mark Stone, we did reach out to him and he put that on the shelf. So he's not pursuing the bill right now. He may do it later or next year because of the whole legislative issues with coronavirus or not being able to meet. But have you heard about that, Catherine?
I have. I actually wrote an article about it. It's on my LinkedIn. I don't know if it's on my company blog yet. I believe it might be. But yeah, I'm very much opposed to that bill going through. I feel like it puts people at a negative. It's just negative all the way across the board. I mean, how can you have somebody come into your office and you give them a quote on the pricing when you don't know how many forms or what the details are exactly, you know, what is going to go into that tax return. So there's a lot of reasons. It only applies to CRTPs. It doesn't apply to EAs and CPAs, and I don't believe that that's justified. So there's a lot. I personally actually wrote a blog article or an article, just kind of like what I'm talking about, sharing my opinion on that. And I did reach out to my local legislature to oppose that as well. So I was really happy that they pushed that away. I don't doubt that it's probably going to come back up again, but I was really happy that they pushed that away for this season.
Yeah, you know, that's great that you have an article. Let's plan on having you maybe in a couple of weeks or in a month go over that because I mean, again, whenever we get information, or like in your case, you wrote an article, it'll be great information to share with the rest of our members.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'd love to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Catherine, for being with us. Thanks, Taxware Systems, and everybody here listening on the Zoom or the Facebook. Let us know if you have any questions. Like I said, I'll share with you. Actually, before I log off, let me find the article and share it with you. That way everybody sees the notes of today's webinar. We're gonna add the slides to that article and then the video. So that way you could have all the information we discussed at your disposal. And then we're gonna continue doing these because it looks like everyone is really enjoying all the conversations we're having, and then all the very good information. So I just added that there. So everyone,
that's okay.
That's on Zoom. Go to your chat. You'll see the link there on the article, top 5 ways to keep yourself essential to today's consumer. And then on Facebook, we just added it to the comment box. But yeah, this video recording will be inside that article as a YouTube video. And we want to help out everybody as much as we can. But thanks, Catherine, again.
Thank you, Tony. It's been a pleasure to prepare for this and to actually execute it. So thank you very much for having me on today. I appreciate it very much.
Awesome. See everybody later. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.